This video took me 19 years to make. We can't answer the question as to why we are here on this planet, but what we can answer is why we should spend our time living and what we should be living for. This is called the map and compass concept, and this is my guide to life. I believe that the average person will live the same year 70 times, and they will call that a life, with not a lot of margin for new excitement, and any new excitement that comes will be in the form of a one-week vacation, normally tailored towards the summer months, or if they can't shave that off, towards April break if they are a school teacher, something like that. This is the middle-class American family that I actually was raised in. However, I believe that everyone wants to live a good life, but the problem is, what is a good life? Tai Lopez says it best. He's one of my favorite entrepreneurs online, and he breaks it up into a well-balanced 4-part segment of health, wealth, love, and happiness. I'm not going to be very specific on what the definition of a good life is, because I believe that we all live our own individual lives, and the actual definition doesn't matter as necessarily as its components do. Health would be anything related to your body, your mind. Wealth, obviously your physical bank account, and the career that you choose to spend your time in. Love, breaking into 3 components: family, friends, and significant others. And obviously happiness would be the overall sense of well-being, purpose, fulfillment, and joy in life. Now, the problem is most people focus on one of these categories, mainly wealth, because it is such a key staple to all of our lives, and without money, we virtually have every problem known to man. I believe that in order to achieve this ideal life, we must become more and do more, and by doing this, we do something that we call evolution. By putting more effort into the system, more actionable and appropriate steps towards our dream life or good life, as it's called, we will start to evolve, unwind the bad habits, replace them with good ones that will eventually turn us into a good life person. Let's zoom in a little bit further. On the micro, what we call this is growth. If you improve 1% every single day in one specific area, we call that growth. Over the course of a lifetime on the macro is known as evolution. So if we broke this down big picture, zoomed out really far, and looked at life as a whole, we could start to collectively see that on the top-down view, the most biggest picture is, why are we here? We can't answer that question, but the second one below that is, since we're here, what do we want to do with our life? But spending a lot of time introspecting on this, you will ultimately understand that your daily actions and repetitions no longer become random movements in a system, but become a cog in a wheel that is eventually going to spin and reach that end goal. The next part is the most important thing. As we get closer to the day-to-day activities, you're going to realize how important intention is, because we have 24 hours in a day, and it is very important to utilize those in an intentional way. So anything that stops us from getting there is known as scraps. We call this friction. Anything that prevents you from actually doing the thing you want to do, known as traction, is friction inherently, and getting rid of these scraps ultimately will help you move forward, use your traction, and get to where you want to go. So let's say you want to be a doctor. You should obviously not be applying to law schools. You should not be going out and starting your own business. You should not be partying. You should not be drinking, because I believe that being a doctor requires a lot of rigorous hard work in a very specific category for a very extended period of time. Now, if anything that you're doing during this period of time is not aiding in the attainment of that goal, then I would believe it to be friction. And here's the exception. Let's say you want to be a doctor. That is your overall life goal. But you also make it very apparent that you want to have a fun season of your life, and that is your ability to let loose and enjoy yourself. Then attaining the doctorate status at that point in time becomes the friction, and the actual partying, enjoyment, and actually relaxing season becomes the traction. If we zoom in even further than that, we can go to the day-to-day. You break up your day into hour chunks because, honestly, hours are divisible. You usually spend a few hours doing specific tasks, and in my ideal world, I wake up at 5 and go to bed at 10, and I have 8 hours of sleep. I go to the gym super early, I have a great breakfast, eat great food, I'm working out super hard, I'm hitting the targets, I'm going and seeing my family and friends, I'm spending time with my significant other, I'm actually going and getting my body, my mind fed, and I'm actually getting to sleep on time. I'm hitting all components of health, wealth, love, and happiness, giving myself an A in all of these categories for the day. At the month level scale, this is semi-macro. You're zooming out a little bit further. You realize it's harder to actually get super in the weeds with the specifics, but realizing that the best thing that you possibly could do for yourself is improve 1% better in every single category, making minor tweaks, adjustments, and fine-tunements to your position in life over time will get you the best results. 30% over a month times 12 months out of the year is going to get you 360% better than the first day you started. And that's only if you're improving 1% every single day. The goal here is consistency, realizing that continuing progress towards the actual attainment of an end is ultimately what some people define success as. And then we zoom out even further. What you're looking at right now is a calendar. Each box represents a week. There are 52 columns. There are 80 rows. The average person will live around to be 80 years old, and there's 52 weeks in a regular calendar year, meaning that this is a good depiction of how fast your life can go by. This was the whole entire motivation for the thesis that I'm making in this video. I saw this calendar for the first time last year while in my best friend's college dorm at the time, realizing that time is very scarce and these boxes fill in very fast. Yeah, it's depressing. Let's get back to the good life though. How do you actually live a good life? We'd assume that everyone wants to live a good life, right? But not many people act like it. Well, if you could imagine, you are this singular dot in space. Everything before you represents all your experiences, your baggage, the trauma, the tension, the trials, the tribulations that you've lived through. Everything to the right of you is undiscovered and unknown. With the mess and the chaos on the left side and the unknown on the right side, there's no wonder why you're confused and very bombarded with the sheer fact that you have no idea what's going on at any given moment. Even when you hear motivational videos like this, you still seldom actually listen to the advice because life is confusing and there isn't just one variable in play. There are lots of them in play. Now, I want to take a moment to actually break down what's going on here. There are 3 columns of phrases. The first is directly to the right of the little dot representing you, and then the second is even to the right of that, and then the third one is to the right of that as well. The first column is first order consequence, the second column is second order, and the third is third order, obviously. But what does that mean? Let's imagine you decide to drop out of college right now. There is a consequence, good or bad, that results from you taking that action step. This will have long-rooted consequences that have a very indefinite time period of your life. Because dropping out of college means maybe your credit score goes down, maybe you're in debt, maybe life becomes riskier, maybe you need to move out, maybe you need to get married, maybe you need to move away. Those are your second-order consequences or decisions you might have to make because you chose to drop out of college. And now that you have opened up that gateway, you have to go ahead and answer all of those questions. How much debt are you in? How do you pay that off? What are you using to pay it off? What car should you buy? Are you getting married? Why are you getting married? The thing is we are constantly bombarded with these layers and layers and layers of questions, thoughts, prompts, and things that prevent us from actually making decisions in an appropriate way. And the question that we must ask ourselves now is, knowing that we want to have a good life, what are the action steps that we can take today to get us there? Well, if we zoom out and we kind of look at our lives, the best way that we've decided to make decisions in the past has been through something known as parents. When you were a baby, your parents, unless you don't have any, would raise you. And you can kind of define parents as anything. Your aunt, your uncle, your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, any type of figure that teaches you how to stay alive in those early years. When you go into school, whether it's grade school, elementary, kindergarten, you have teachers. In college years, you have professors. Your work years, you have your boss. These people act as authoritative figures to teach you how to not make mistakes and do work properly so that you ultimately get to where you want to go. But in life, there's just you. You're the only person responsible for your success, and at the end of the day, you're the only person that can dictate your actual results in life, which makes it super freaking tricky. And that also brings me to the map, the main focus of today's conversation. What you're looking at right now is what happens when you don't pay attention to life. The circles that are not filled are all the potential options that people could choose at any given point, whether it's on a daily basis, a weekly basis, or monthly basis. And the filled in circles are choices that people actually take and then they make. And these are scattered based on whether they are actually promoting the end goal or actually deteriorating from the end goal. And if you remove all of the decisions that they don't make and you leave just the line that they actually took, you can realize it looks something like this. But the thing is if you actually have a way to tell you what you should be doing, a better way to make decisions, a better way to filter out bad obstacles, something like a compass, and you attach that to a map, then maybe you can start making better decisions, realizing that you are actually moving closer to your goal at a much slower, steadier, and consistent pace rather than just randomly going up and down across the map without any actual direction or knowledge of what you're doing. Eliminating distractions and being intentional about the daily actions that you choose, knowing that one day all of your work is going to pay off, and even today, your work is paying off as we speak. The only thing you have to remember is as long as you know where you're heading, the best thing to do right now is to just get 1% better. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, this was my thesis for life. It took me forever to make. Please subscribe, smash the like button, and I'll see you later. Sucker.